good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. How's everyone doing this morning? Wherever you are, how's everyone doing this morning? I am looking out from my basement window to a very snowy, cold Colorado morning. Where's everybody joining from? Here for the nostalgia? Yeah. But we're gonna have a fun class together. In case you've never joined one of these, we paint together. So grab your watercolor supplies and get ready, and I'll explain everything I'm doing. We're gonna paint some of my favorites of the animal series, and we'll just paint until our hour is up. So we'll do as many as we can. Finland, Ohio, New York, Texas. Good morning. Good morning, Minnesota. Oh, I bet you're cold too. Yeah. We're in for some real cold here in Colorado, and yeah, we're looking at like -10 the next couple days. Not excited for that, but it's okay. Got a nice cozy house. South Africa. Oh, beautiful. Okay. So before we get started, let's actually, I earmarked in my sketchbooks some of my favorites, and we're going to start with 4 because I know we can get 4 done within this hour, but you guys can help me choose of these. So I do love the raccoon. This is one of the options. The capybara is one of my favorites too. Of course, the elephant, because I love elephants. Let's see. The lion was fun. The peacock. I love the giraffe. This still might be one of my absolute favorites. I think we should do that one, but I'm going to wait to see what you guys say. The donkey. Or even the blowfish. I mean, this is the one that started it all. I do also really like the seal. That one is fun to do too. Or the pig or the koala. And then I think there's actually a couple more, and they're all over. They're all through all my different sketchbooks. This is actually one we did on live a while ago, but I do like the chicken, and I like these guys too. So let me know out of those ones which you're kind of curious about doing. We'll get started with 4, and then if we have time, we'll do more than that. Hi, Sunny. All right, I'm seeing quite a few of, let's see, I thought I saw a bunch of the giraffe. I'm going to tape this off into the 4 segments, and then we'll write down which ones we're doing, just so I can kind of keep track of what we're doing. The giraffe and the capybara. For sure. Just gonna tape these off in my sketchbook. We can do all 4 on one page. Now, one of the kind of goofy things is based on the fact that these are going to be a little bit more vertical than square. It might lend itself to, like, the giraffe is going to be great on this. The capybara will be good too because he's kind of angular this way. And I think we can do the koala. The chicken would be good too. So, and then we'll see what we can do afterwards. I gotta find a pen to write on these. I have so many pens, but where's one of my permanent pens? All right, I've got a Sharpie. Oh, that is dried up. There's a question if I'm going to post this later, and the answer is maybe. Sometimes it takes even up to a day for these to process on TikTok, and if things go away tomorrow, then if it doesn't process in time, then I can't. All right, so then let's try to do the koala, and then what are we thinking for the last one? What about the chicken? Okay, yeah, chicken or dino, because somebody says dino. The raccoon is, I guess we could do the raccoon. Okay, chicken, dino, or raccoon. Sorry. I'm going to give you guys just another minute. All right, I think chicken. If we can get through these fast enough, we'll do another page. Chicken. Is that how you spell chicken? My brain feels like it stopped working as I was writing that. Okay, so we're gonna start with the giraffe. Let me find him in these books so that we have our little reference photo. Where is he? Where is he? I know he was in this. Gotta be in this one. Right? There we go. Okay, if anybody needs to screenshot the reference, I'm gonna hold this up for about 5 more seconds. And yeah, everyone that I've shown is something that I have painted in one of these videos. So they do exist there too. All right, good enough for that one. You're gonna grab your watercolors and we wanna give them a spritz just to make sure they activate. Make sure that you guys can see what I've got in frame here. I'm gonna grab my brush. I use one single brush for almost all of my watercolor paintings. I very rarely switch between. I just look for something that has like a really good point. This is one of my quill brushes, but any sort of round type brush will be great for these as long as you can get a nice point, because then you have access to fine details and it can hold more water. So I'm gonna start by grabbing some light purple in my brush because I think that's the color I want the eyes. And just as a quick reference, I always like to have these little tester strips to make sure that the colors that I think I have in my brush are actually the colors, how they're gonna look on the paper. And we're going to start by making 2 circles that are about 2 circles apart from each other, or 1.5, it kind of depends. But I'm going to do this about 2/3 of the way up on the page. And the circles don't need to be perfect because we will be filling and outlining things with a white gel pen at the very end, or that's what I'm going to be doing. You don't have to do that. You could do that with a black pen or a crayon or You don't have to outline them at all, but I like to outline them. It kind of gives us room for our mistakes. Okay, I've got my 2 circles going here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wash my brush, and now we're going to mix up kind of a yellowish, beigey type color. So I've got some water right in here. I'm going to grab yellow. I'm going to grab a little brown. None of these color mixes need to be exact. And then, but I'm going to put a little bit of red in here too, just to kind of warm that up a little bit more. And this is going to be kind of my base color, maybe just a little more yellow. There we go. That's the color I want for the main part of my giraffe. Now I'm going to start by outlining the insides of those circles, and I'm going to try not to touch them. This is a really good exercise in brush control. If you're super worried about touching into those and then bleeding together, you could always dry the eyes first, but if you're trying to get better at your brush control, I recommend trying to do this. I'm going to fill it in between, and then these have like a little they have a little knob on their head that will go up into their little, what are those called? Their little antennas. So we're kind of making 3 little bumps, and then we're going to drag up for their 2 little nub type antennas. I'm going to refill my brush. I'm also going to bring this into these ears. And I'm just kind of touching the tip of my brush and then pushing down to get more pressure to get the ears into kind of those leaf type shapes. And I'm going to try to keep this relatively wet so that I can add in these spots as I move on. And then I'm actually just going to go straight down into a neck. This is going to look really goofy until we add in the next part. And I'm just going to go straight down. Right now it looks like he's a very, very long nose. All right, then I'm going to grab my darker brown in my brush. I'm going to get it more concentrated so that it's darker. And while this is still wet, I'm just going to start to drop this in to give him his spots. Oh, I think he's already so cute. I'm gonna put a little there too. Okay. So we have our eyes and our body and the ear done. And for now, what I need to do is actually dry this area so that I can layer on top of it without everything bleeding together. So I'm gonna grab my handy dandy heat gun, and I'm going to dry this. If you need to, if you're noise sensitive, usually TikTok kind of helps reduce the noise of this, but if, just in case, you might want to turn your volume down for probably about 30 seconds to a minute, and I'm going to turn it on in 3, 2, and 1. Okay, I think it's dry. So the next things I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that darker brown color, and I'm just gonna, let's smush it into that yellowy color here. I'm trying to make kind of a darker color for the mouth part. Just a bit more, because I want it to be dark enough where it's gonna actually cover that other area. I'm actually gonna add in a little bit of black just to just to get it a bit darker. I think that will work there. And now right under the eyes, I'm just gonna make a big oval. And I'm actually gonna have that go out a little bit beyond the eyes because I just want it to be cute. And yeah, this animal series is something that I just post here. Well, I post here, I post in various places. This isn't like an exclusive thing, but you do have to scroll through to get them. I'm gonna add in just a bit more of that black along the bottom just to give a little bit of shading. Just like that. Now the neck seems to make a little more sense. And then I'm going to wash my brush and I'm gonna put just some really concentrated black in my brush. And we're gonna make 2 smaller circles within those initial circles to make kind of their big pupils. Trying to make sure I leave a little bit of that purple peeking out, at least on one side of it. Just like that. The giraffe, this is definite. I think this is officially my favorite one. Now, what I need to do is I need to dry this again because we're going to add in a background because it just kind of, it helps to put them in their, you know, their habitat or their place kind of. But I do have a little puddle of water here and I don't want that to blow everywhere. So I'm going to take my brush, dry it off, and I'm just going to suck up a little bit of that extra. This will also help me speed up the drying time just a bit. All right, again, for people who are sensitive to noises, if you need to, you're gonna want to turn the volume down again because we're going to be drying this in 3, 2, and 1. There we go. All right, what do we think for backgrounds? I kind of want to do like a bright pink background, but green could also be really pretty with this too. What do you think? Also, how are you doing with how are you doing with yours? Are you on the same kind of step as me, or are you scrambling to catch up? Oh, we are 50-50 on the green and the pink. Oh man. All right, I'm gonna go green. There were 3 greens in a row. We will do a bright pink on one of them for sure. So I'm just gonna make sure that my colors, I like to dip into multiple colors for my background, so I'm just going to make sure that they're wet. And then I'm just going to put a bunch of water in my brush and put some of this color in. And I'm not going for perfection here. I'm just going to go for getting variation and just kind of smushing them all together, all these colors. You can go darker or lighter with your backgrounds. I like to build in the variation because it makes the whole thing a little more forgiving so that you don't have to get a super even coat, but also I just really like how it looks. So see, I just kind of have a little puddle there that I am constantly dipping into these different greens and modifying. And then I'm going to keep mine in place, but if you struggle with making the backgrounds, I highly recommend moving your page around so that it is more complementary to where your hand is. I'm going to keep it here just so that we can keep things in frame. I'm going to put a little more water to lighten this just a bit. And this is more difficult because I'm not moving it. That's okay. And I'm not going to dry this one right away. I'm going to let this one soak in so that we can actually get started on our next one. If I had my way, we would probably actually paint like all the eyes at once and then all the next stages at once. But I know that that's a little bit sometimes hard to follow. So we're gonna do them kind of one by one. But I'm gonna let this one dry while we get started on the first stage of this one before I dry both at the same time of the next stage, and then we can add in our details on this one. All right. So other than the details, this one is going to be done. And next up, we're going to do the capybara. So I'm going to put him right in here. Hello to Moogie. It still always cracks me up. I cannot believe a Moogie in the wild for sure. When I went downstairs, my Moogie was anxiously awaiting potentially being able to lick the peanut butter knife. All right, so for this one, we're not going to make our two circles that are 2 circles apart. We're actually going to do them where they're like half moons, but they're angled. And we could do purple again for the eyes, or do you have a different color that you want the eyes to be? I like the purple. I'm leaning towards purple or blue for the eyes. Let's just keep it purple. My Moogie is good. She is getting older, so she's got her little aches and pains, but we actually have her in physical therapy currently for some things, and it's really cute because they give her frozen baby food. Oh, and she loves that. She loves going to the physical therapist. All right, so I need to kind of think about this one. I'm actually going to modify the shape of this a little bit because otherwise I think if I stretch him out too much, he's not going to look like a capybara. So I'm going to take my tape and I'm going to rip it a little bit. And then I'm just going to bring this up so that it's a little less tall, just to kind of help me keep everything in shape. All right, so we're gonna go up again about 2/3 of the way, and we're gonna make these half moon shapes that are about 2 apart from each other. And again, I'm gonna start just kind of by marking out those angles for the eyes, and then I'm going to fill them in. Just like that. Then again, we might even be able to start with almost this color as our main color, because I'm going to put a little yellow into that just to brighten it up a little bit. A little more. Here we go. And again, we're going to start by outlining the insides, well, the top edges and the insides of the eyes. I'm trying not to touch them, trying to leave a little space so they don't bleed together. And then this is going to come, we're going to mark out where it kind of, the eyeballs would kind of be in those sockets here. And then we're going to come up and flat over. I'm going to start filling this in so I don't get those harsh lines where it starts to kind of dry. It looks so evil right now. It's not. It's a very nice capybara. And then the ears are going to kind of come straight up from the eye. And they're little guys. And then straight down from about halfway in the eye, we're just going to go straight out. This looks so funny. I think that they look so funny when you first get these started. I'm going to kind of flick out to give them a little bit of fur, and I'm going to fill this in. And if we want to get fancy, we could, while things are still dry, we could drop some colors into some different areas to give it a little variation. I'm going to do that. I'm going to modify this color just a little bit, and I'm going to drop in some darker colors here, maybe kind of under the eyes, and flick a few times. It's going to be subtle, but it'll make a little difference. I think the eyelashes will hopefully make him look less angry. I think it will be a judgy capybara, though. And the answer to the recording is, ideally it will record and it will process in time for me to download so I can repost this to YouTube later. But kind of all bets are off this week, I suppose. So I'm going to dry this again. I'm going to dry both of these. We're going to go back. We're going to add our pen details onto this one, and we'll work on our second layer for this one. So if you're sensitive to noise, turn your volume down in 3, 2, and 1. There we go. Oh, I can't believe I helped somebody start painting. That's so incredible. It's crazy. I mean, that's literally my goal. It's my goal to help people start painting, but it is just kind of incredible to me that, yeah, I can help in that way, and I love that. All right, we're gonna add in let's add in our pen details, because I think it's gonna be so cute. So I like these pens here, and white gel pens are tricky because some of them just don't have very good coverage. This one has a ton of coverage, but you do have to hold it kind of at an angle to allow the ball to roll, and you want to use a light touch. Like if I try to do it hard, it does not have as good a coverage as a light touch. So yeah, I used to do lives every other week. That kind of fell off, though, when I started writing the book, which hopefully will be back in stock soon. I'm still waiting for an official date from my publishers, but I do know that they finally got the next print run, but they are doing some packaging things to make things work a little better. And my schedule's just gotten really busy, so I haven't done lives in a while. Okay, now I'm pushing too hard. But I like to take the white gel pen and just outline everything. I think it just adds kind of a fun little effect. Okay, it was just working for me a second ago. Let's scribble it out. There we go. And it just kind of helps smooth the edges, and then adding in these little highlights. There we go. Also, if you do like more live type formats, I do have a Patreon where we do a live class every month, and they are they're a little more involved than the TikTok lives, but they are tons of fun. We do it on Google Meet, so I can actually talk to people, which is really fun. There we go. I mean, look how much that outline just really brought that to life. Okay, our giraffe is officially done. And next up, we're going to add in our pupils and the mouth part for the capybara. Oh, the eyelashes, you're right. Thank you. Thank you, I forgot. Just kidding. Can't quite see it as much. They use lighter colors, but Nick is watching the X-Files upstairs. I can hear the theme song right now. Okay, all right. I added in the eyelashes. I do think it's really cute. You can see if I get it a little bit closer. Okay, let's just start with adding in the pupils. So again, I'm going to just grab a really concentrated amount of that black, and I'm going to add in 2 half circles within these ones that are smaller so that we see a little bit of that purple peeking out. It's going to look extra mean for a minute. Oh. Very angry. But let's see if we can kind of fix that with some eyelashes. We'll make it more I don't know why, but that's so funny to me. It's kind of judgy now. Just flicking out a little bit. Oh, these eyelashes have gotten away from me on this side. It's okay. All right. So now I want to take a much darker brown color. So I'm going to grab brown, and then I'm going to grab maybe some of this black. Yes, he is mad about TikTok leaving. Oh. And now we're going to make kind of a rectangular shape. We want to go down from the eyes a bit, right around here, and then we'll kind of mark about how long we want this to be. And I'm going to round the corners, and I want it to get a little bigger as it goes down. And then I'm going to fill this in. Those eyelashes on that side are wild. All right, I'm going to dry this so we can add in the background on this one. So again, if you're sensitive to noise, you're going to want to turn your volume down in 3, 2, and 1. All right, I think we have to do a bright pink background for this one because I don't think that she'd have it any other way. This is the white gel pen that I use. I'm not allowed to on live talk specific brands, just FYI. I got one time I got like kicked off of live because I was marketing, which I guess I technically am, but you know, I'm not trying to. This is not meant to be something to sell anything. I just want us to paint fun little animals together. All right, so I'm going to put in just a really bright pink background for this one. And I think I might just vary based on a little more water here or there instead of varying the actual color. Backgrounds don't need to be perfect. I remember when I started watercolor, I was always so nervous to add in a background because what if I touched it? What if I didn't touch it? What if it doesn't really matter. It does not super matter. And actually, you know, one of the things that I think is really beautiful is when you look at art, like take a look at some of your favorite art in, you know, a museum or by one of your favorite artists, and take a second to notice that the whole thing looks really good, but then when you get up really close, if you can start to notice some differences or variations or some of these little imperfections, it becomes more interesting. And I think that's just really beautiful. Okay, next up, we're gonna start on the koala. I'm gonna let this one dry while we start the koala. So let's find, where's our koala guy? He's right here. He's so cute. Okay, and we're gonna start with a light blue color. I'm going to grab a new tester strip because my old tester strip is full. I want a little bit more of this blue. We're going to give them some real baby blues. There we go. Okay, now we need to be... I don't usually like to draw first, but I feel like I need to be mindful of where I'm going to put the tree. So I'm going to kind of sketch out where he's going to be hugging the tree branch. So he's going to be hugging here. Because I don't want to have to paint his feet. My whole goal is to not have to paint his feet. So his eyes are going to be kind of over here, I think. He's going to be an itty bitty guy. He's going to be a little tiny guy. So filling my brush with this light blue color. Let's put him back in frame so we can see him. Maybe see him. And then we're gonna start, I'm gonna do this one like just below the halfway line. I'm gonna make 2 small circles so we can fit him into this. I feel like this is where it should be. I don't know. Again, this longer format, or the more vertical or stretched nature of this, is going to potentially cause me some problems with this one, but we're going for it. We can put lots of trees above it. Make your circles about 1.5 circles apart on this one, I guess. Yeah, having to paint the feet or the hands on different things makes things so much harder, and the whole point of this series is for it to be, you know, pretty accessible and simple. So it makes it a lot less intimidating. Now we're gonna mix up a light gray color, and you can actually kind of tint your gray with any sort of a color. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna use this little bit of purple that's still here, and then I'm just gonna add some black to it, which should give me kind of a lovely gray color. I need more water in it though, because I want it to be lighter. Just a little bit more water. Just like that. Okay, now we're really getting into the tiny, tiny details. If you do this one a little bigger, it'll be a little bit easier, but I'm gonna outline the insides of the eyes, trying not to touch the blue. Again, if you don't wanna risk it, you can always dry it. So somebody asked about where I have my phone set up. I just have like this gooseneck clamp thing. And then we're gonna go, let's give him a little cap, because he has a little cap. I'm gonna fill all this in. And then we need to make these ears. And in general, the ears are gonna go, they start from about this point on the eye, and then they go up and around. Oop, I touched that, that's okay. And koalas have really furry ears, so on the outsides, I'm just gonna I'm gonna make sure that it's not perfect. I'm gonna fill in a little bit of this before I switch over to a pink color in a minute, but first I'm gonna finish his head. And it's gonna go, it goes straight down from the eye and goes out and around, and then kind of just straight across. Okay, I'm gonna wash my brush, and now I'm gonna grab a pinky type color. And I might mix that pink into a little bit of this brown, just to kind of soften that pink. And then I'm just gonna drop that kind of in the center of where I left that space, so we get some nice pink in his ears. If we wanted to, let's give him a little bit of pink cheeks too. Mine's bleeding quite a bit, so I'm gonna wash my brush to try to control this, and I'm gonna dry it off, and then I'm just gonna start to kind of suck up a little bit of that. This one's getting a little bit out of control. I'm gonna redrop a little bit of that gray. It's okay. We can kind of work on things within the next few steps. It'll be okay. All right, now for his body. I'm just gonna let things happen as they happen here. Now for his body, we're gonna come straight down here, right underneath, and it's gonna come down, and then we're gonna kind of give him his little arm, because he's gonna be holding on to this tree here. And I'm just gonna fill this in. And I'm gonna take a little more black, and let's shade right under. Shade under his arm a little bit too. There. He looks pretty goofy, but I think by the time we add in all of our extra things and then add in the white pen details, he'll actually come back around. I think it'll be okay. So I'm gonna I gotta dry this one so I can add in the white pen details, and then I gotta dry this one. So again, if you are noise sensitive, turn your volume down in 3, 2, and 1. And yes, the head bobbing is off camera. You know, it's funny, like when I started doing that, it was because I was filming and it's kind of like the equivalent of I don't know what to do with my hands. It felt kind of awkward, but also when I'm waiting for things, I'm very impatient for very silly things. Like if I'm filling up my water, I have to like move it up and down and then I count, I don't know, whatever. But it's kind of just a fun little thing and it makes a very boring, I like to gamify everything. So it makes a very boring activity fun. All right, so we're gonna outline this one. On this one, I'm gonna make sure that I add in a lot of whiskers and just kind of outline things how I did before. And I just want to make sure that I say, you know, if TikTok really does go away, how much this app and this community has meant to me, because, you know, like a lot of people, I downloaded this in 2020 and I'd actually had an in-person business where I was teaching classes in person, and when everything shut down, I was like, oh, what am I going to do now? And I also just didn't have a lot of purpose at that point, and being able to connect with people and experiment and learning how to teach online has been one of the best gifts I've ever been given, and be able to actually see what people paint and help. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I know that there are other places that we can go do this, and we will, but I'm kind of beside myself the last few days. I just waffle between all sorts of different things, because it's not just, I don't know, it means so much more than I can really explain. He's so judgy. This is... This is not my favorite capybara I've painted, but I mean, maybe that's just because she definitely has a grudge against me. All right, our capybara is done. Now back to the koala. So for our final steps here, we're going to be adding in, we've got 2 more layers on this one. We're going to add in our nose, our pupils. So again, we need to grab our concentrated black color here, and we're going to make 2 smaller circles within those initial circles, and this is going to cover up some of my little mistakes that I made where things bled in. So there we go, 1 mistake has been fixed. And then we're going to make kind of an almond shape for the nose. He's already so much cuter. We could do orange, but I was thinking of trying to make it kind of like a tree, because we have the tree here. So I'm going to just take that brown that I have here, and let's make our little tree. I'm going to mix in some variation of colors just to give our tree some interest, I suppose. Whoop. We could make it have more branches, but I'm not going to. And then trying to keep an eye on the time, because I set the time for 1 hour and I don't know if the live is just gonna like end. So let's at least get started on our chicken, just in case, because I feel like this is you've got the main components of the koala at this point. I can't bring the chicken into frame because it's on a much bigger piece of paper and it's over there, so you're just gonna have to trust me. We're gonna do yellow eyes on this one. because I think it's cute. Kind of a brighter yellow. And I'm going to do this about halfway. Make my 2 circles that are about 2 circles apart from each other, or 1.5 circles for people who like to be very precise. And actually, I think I'm going to make these ones a little bit bigger because I want them to have real big eyes. There we go. I'm going to wash my brush. I'm going to modify this brown. We've been just kind of modifying the same brown all through this class. I'm going to make it, I'm just mixing together different browns and then a little bit of yellow to give them kind of a goldeny type color. I like that. I think that'll be, let's make them a little more brown so it's a little bit different than the eyes. There we go. A little more brown so it's a little bit different than the eyes. There we go. And now we're gonna again try to outline the insides of these without touching. As you've seen, it happens. And it's also not the end of the world, even when it does happen. I'm only going about halfway up. And now I'm gonna make a cap. So they have kind of a little cap head. I'm going to give them a little bit of some chubby cheeks, so they're going to come out just a little bit wider in the eyes. And I'm going to leave a little gap here. And then I'm going to come kind of down like that. I'm going to wash my brush and then I'm going to kind of soften this in because I want to add in that is that the red wattle? Is that what that's called? And I want it to stay lighter. So I'm going to kind of leave it like that. All right, I'm going to dry both of these really quick. Noise warning. Turn your volume down if you need to. In 3, 2, and 1. And there we go. Oh yes, thank you to Monica. Monica is my superstar moderator and just, she's wonderful. So if everybody can say thank you to Monica, she's very helpful about answering all of the questions and I am eternally grateful. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add in a green background on this one because I want it to kind of look like it's in a forest. And we are potentially running out of time if the live is actually going to cut off in, in a few minutes. So I want to make sure that we get as many of these finished out as we can. Hopefully it'll let us stay on for longer than that so that I can officially finish this, but I can't remember when I schedule with the time if it does kind of a goofy cutoff thing. So this is cotton paper that I'm using, but I do often use things like Canson paper, and Canson is a cellulose-based paper, and I think it works great. especially for when you're getting started, like one of the best things that I did for myself, because when I first got started, like everything I painted, I was too afraid to do on nice paper, and so I just didn't paint. And one of the best things I did was just buy a pad of Canson paper, and then I would cut it up into tiny little squares so that I could play and not feel so bad. You know, I by doing that, it meant that I had tons of chances instead of having to get it right on the first try. Because when you get started, you're worried about that. I'm less worried about that now because I realize not everything I do is going to be perfect, and that's okay. But it can be really intimidating when you get started. He's going to be a big chicken, yes. All right, so we got to add in our details on this one. So I'm going to start with the black details. Again, I'm going to grab a concentrated black color. I'm going to make my 2 smaller circles within. The eyes. And then for this mouth shape or the beak shape, we're going to kind of start by making a bit of a triangle, kind of like this. It's going to go up. But then I'm going to bring down, I'm going to swoop it down a bit to give him his little beak. Oh, hold on, I gotta confirm I'm still here. It's telling me I'm inactive, and I've got to put a puzzle piece together. Okay, sorry. It was about ready to end it because it said I was inactive. All right, now I'm going to fill my brush with a bright red color. My paints are kind of dry. I should have re-wet this area. And now at the very top of the head, I'm going to make kind of just give him a little mohawk. There we go. With things like this, you want to kind of just like not think too much. Just kind of let your brush do its thing. Okay, for any chicken experts out there, does it actually go together, or are they kind of like two sides? We can, I don't know if there's any we'll put one more in. That's good enough. Oh, it does go together. Okay. Good enough. It's not quite perfect, but it's fine. All right, I'm going to dry both of these really quick. So if you're sensitive to noise, turn your volume down in 3, 2, and 1. Okay, I'm going to add in a background real quick to this one. I'm thinking purples. Purples and pinks. This is very much going to be a quick one, because again, I'm trying to make sure. Oh, it hasn't kicked us off, so I could slow down a little bit. to make sure we can actually finish these. Okay, so for anybody who's painting along, out of your 4 creatures that you've done, do you have a favorite? Or even if you're not painting along, are there any that you're going to do maybe later? Because I know you can't always paint right when the live is. Oh, so I didn't work quite as wet as I usually like to. So I'm gonna get some brush strokes in here. So I'm just gonna lean into it. Let's just add some in. We're gonna make it look like it was, I did this on purpose. Look at that. I meant to work drier. All right, this one should be dry enough for me to add the pen details on. So in addition to doing the outlining and adding in kind of the details on the koala, I'm also going to add in allude to some leaf shapes kind of in here, just to give it a little bit more. Everybody has a slightly different favorite. I mean, the giraffe is so cute. He's perfect. I'm gonna make sure that it looks extra fuzzy on the ears. I do like this little koala guy. He's cute. He's very cute. We're just going to allude to the fact that he is hugging onto this tree. And let's add in some leaves. I'm gonna add in leaves. You can add in leaves if you want. Hi, Tim. How are you? There we go. There, my leaves look good. All right, I'm gonna dry this one really quick. So again, if you're sensitive to noise, but that way I can add in those details. So it might get loud in 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm gonna outline all this stuff. And I just want to say also thank you so much for hanging out today for a bit. I'm still gonna be mopey today, but Getting to paint with you guys has definitely brightened up my day and made me feel a lot happier. I mean, that's like the whole reason that I do art is it makes me feel happier. Even when I make something that I don't love how it turned out, I always feel better after I paint. We could even allude to some feathers in here. You're not going to see them a ton, but I might add a little texture. Might add a little texture. All right, let's take the tape off because it is one of the more satisfying parts. If you're worried about taking the tape off, I do like to heat it up usually because it helps reduce the amount of adhesive that actually sticks to the paper. But I'm just gonna go for it because I want to see it. So yeah, if you're feeling down today or tomorrow, well, or anytime, I recommend maybe find one of these videos. Yeah, Monica helped me make a playlist on YouTube, actually, of all the different little animals, so you can find all the ones we've done so far. I don't know for sure, but I think we've done like 20 different animals. Okay, I'm kind of loving the sassy capybara. Like, I would be scared to be friends with her, but I would definitely think she was gorgeous. And this chicken's sweet. Oh my gosh, I love them so much. Yeah, it is. It's like a little thanks for all the memories. Have a good summer. Oh, should we name them? All right, let's name them before we get off of here. What should our giraffe be named? I'm gonna wait and see if there's any good suggestions. George, I was thinking Gertrude. George feels, oh my gosh, there's Gertie and Gertrude. Okay, we're definitely doing that. Gertrude, okay, what's our sassy capybara's name? Stella. Oh, I like Candy. I can see Stella or Candy for sure. Karen could. Oh, Dolly. I kind of love Dolly as this. What do we think about Dolly for her? I don't know. Maybe I'm Stella. Let's go with Stella. My dad has a dog named Stella, and when they first got her, he was like, I don't know if she's feisty enough to have the name Stella. Oh man, after she got right out of that little puppy stage, she is very spirited. All right, and what about our koala? Candace. Oh, Cammy's cute, yeah. Oh, I like Mavis too. Or Lucy. I lived in Australia for a while, and almost everybody introduced myself to. I'd say, "Hi, I'm Lacey," and they'd go, "Nice to meet you, Lucy." So it's now my like fake name. I still like Mavis. Mavis was because she looks so sweet. I don't know. And then what about our chicken? I like Henrietta. Oh, there's 2 Henriettas. Ethel sounds good too, though. I've seen several Mabels. Let's go with Mabel. I like that. All right. Here's our little group from today. I'm gonna make a little note in here. Final. If it doesn't go away, we'll have a celebratory live too, but in case it does. But I'm also happy because I painted with you guys. So it's gonna be one of those days. Thank you everyone for, you know, all of the support and for being there and for being you and for tagging me in the paintings you made, and I hope that we get to continue on other platforms, but you know, it'll be different, but we'll figure it out. We will figure it out. But right now I am going to take a day to be probably just kind of sad about it. I appreciate everyone and all of your time, and I hope, you know what I hope for you today? I hope you have a really, really good snack, like a very satisfying snack. Because that's what I want for my day. All right, have a wonderful day, and so long, and thanks for all the fish.